This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Personal Development and Training. Today we have a training. We're going to go over compliance, which is so important. Not only do we want to keep ourselves much in compliance so that we don't get kicked from a company. Yeah, that can happen. Nor do we want the company to draw negative attention to potentially shut the whole company down. Today, I have somebody who basically is a specialty, lack of better words, in this particular field. She's our compliance person for our team. I'd like to introduce Juliana Dennis. Juliana, would you like to say hi?
Hi, Wendy, and thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I'm very much honored and appreciate being able to share this information, hopefully bring some value to the team.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm getting kind of sidetracked. So I forgot to tell everybody, my name is Wendy Morgan, and welcome, and thank you. So I'm going to go right into sharing the screen so Juliana can share her information. Okay, and I have to move this so I can see everything. There we go. Presentation. There we go. All right.
Very good. All right. Everybody can see that. So today we are going to talk about how to stay compliant in marketing wellness products. And you can flip the slide, Wendy. So to give you a little bit of background, just about my background, I am a longevity coach. I have my group Longevity Living on Facebook, and I wrote the book Aging Redefined, Biohack Your Body Clock Backwards. So I have 30 years of medical sales experience, which I ended up selling genetics and being very, very involved in that. So I just very passionate about epigenetics and helping people reverse their age, of which Lifewave is the perfect vehicle to complement that. So during my career, I also, since 2002, was in network marketing sales with health and wellness products. So I was able to learn how to convey the wonderful benefits of these products while staying compliant. So I hope just my personal experience I want to share. It certainly may not be the gospel of compliance, but it has worked for me over these years and hopefully, again, bring some value to you. So we can go ahead and get to the next slide, Wendy. So why is this so important? I want to go over briefly the laws and bring you to really to the knowledge level how and why this is so important. So the FTC and Food and Drug Administration both share jurisdiction over this of marketing all supplements, foods, drugs, devices, and other healthcare products. So it's both the Federal Trade Commission and the I can talk, FDA. So go ahead, Wendy. And according to the Federal Trade Commission, it's generally prohibited to make unsubstantiated claims about the effectiveness of product in treating, curing, mitigating, or preventing any disease. Next slide. And the FTC requires that any claims made about dietary supplements must be supported by competent and reliable scientific evidence, usually, of course, with clinical studies. This means that there must be sufficient scientific evidence to back up the claims being made. And next slide. So I want to go over, again, a little bit more depth. So the claims may also be subject to a regulation of FDA, which has specific requirements for substantiating the health-related claims. And additionally, the FTC considers claims that a supplement can treat or cure a specific disease to the health-related claims. Now, on the left, you see our wonderful advertisement for Lifewave and X39. And you see it's all in compliance, reversing aging, lifespan extension, all of this is well within compliance. Next slide. So in the US, products sold as dietary supplements are not permitted to claim that they can treat, prevent, or cure a specific disease or condition. Now, you see these slides, some of them have been repetitive, and it's really for a reason. That we really want to be crystal clear on this so everybody is very, very well informed on what you can or cannot say. And next slide. So unfortunately, there's been a lot of companies that have run into problems. The most recent one that I saw was March 2003, just a few months ago, of a very, very well-known health and wellness company, and where they had 3 top distributors that were fined $15,000 each, and they may be facing legal consequences as well. I'm not sure about that, but it was quite serious. And they were all health practitioners, interestingly enough. So right now with currently, this is of utmost importance to be able to be compliant and again, use our language in a safe way. Next slide. So in marketing a wellness product that cannot treat, prevent, or treat, heal, or prevent any disease, it's important to use the compliant language to ensure transparency and avoid misleading claims. Next slide. So be clear about the product's intended use. Clearly state the intended purpose of the product without making any claims related to disease, treatment, or prevention. Focus on promoting general well-being, relaxation, or supporting a healthy lifestyle. And I'm going to be going more into that in the next coming up slides of what we can say, because I've told you about what we cannot say, but we're going to get to what you can say as well. So avoid using also exaggerated or absolute terms that it could imply we are curing a disease. Instead, opt for neutral language like optimizing the body's health. This is a phrase, optimizing the body's health, that I use all the time, which we'll go into more depth about this. So clearly state that the product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, and you are not a medical professional, and this information is for educational purposes only. In our Lifewave testimonies, we do a fabulous job of a medical disclaimer, completely safe, completely compliant, and something we should be very proud of. Next slide. So when you do use testimonies, of course, you can use them, when I say carefully. Ensure if you include customer testimonials, ensure that they focus on the user's experience and symptoms with the product in terms of its non-medical benefits. So you don't want to be going into talking about a specific disease, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide, but avoid using testimonials that claim the disease, treatment, or prevention. Next slide. So here's the really, it makes it so clear for you. Do not use any disease or anything that has a diagnosis code. In medicine of today, how the billing is done, that is every single disease has a diagnosis code that is sent to the insurance companies for payment.
Juliana, but it goes beyond just disease. It actually has symptoms and other things, yes?
Absolutely. But with the diagnosis code, this is just one area that's clearly you don't want to touch. So for instance, if you say neuropathy, that has a diagnosis code. It's migraine headaches have a diagnosis code. Acne has a diagnosis code. So diabetes, you can see here. And then, of course, the cancer, all of these have diagnosis codes. So Wendy, you can go ahead and input again what you were saying.
Oh, no, because it's not just disease. Like you just said, acne, obviously acne is not a disease, but also it has its own diagnosis code too.
It is. Yeah, it has its own diagnosis code. Eczema, psoriasis. The only one that has a diagnosis code that we can use is pain. Pain actually definitely there's many different diagnosis codes for different types of pain. However, we can say pain because we have proven that Lifewave does reduce pain. The X39 does, and I'm going to show that in our patent coming up. But that is the one exception that I have been able to find. If someone else finds any information, then certainly add that in. But that is the only one that I have found where we can actually use, because we do have substantiated clinical studies supporting pain. Okay. So this is where you can get very creative. which I was sharing with Wendy in an earlier conversation when we were talking about this subject. So I am also a clinical esthetician, and over the years, I've had to explain, for instance, acne and eczema. So acne, I've called angry red skin. Eczema, that dry, flaky skin. So using the symptoms, to explain the problem, but again, in a way where you're not making a medical diagnosis. So
Juliana, when it comes like to acne, could you just like be the describing of the actual symptoms, obviously not using the label, like acne, you could say, someone who may be experiencing a lot of, forgive my terminology, guys, but we all know it, whiteheads or blackheads upon their face. We can use that. Yes.
You can say exactly. You can say whiteheads, blackheads, because again, the whiteheads and blackheads are symptoms, but they don't have the diagnosis code. Acne has the diagnosis code. So you're absolutely correct. And neuropathy. So you can say tingling, right? Tingling and discomfort. Now, I use discomfort, the word, liberally. Yes, we can use pain, but I really like to even sometimes go a step further and call it discomfort. And discomfort can cover so many different areas and not just pain. And of course, there's no diagnosis code for discomfort. For instance, I had major discomfort in my head for instead of a migraine headache, to the point where I had to lie down in dark room. So you once you get in this sort of rhythm, if you will get used to be able to ways that you can create a situation, or not create a situation, but explain a situation rather, in a compliant way. For instance, runaway cells, you've heard Marcy say that so often, explaining her background. And I was in another company where we called those runaway cells rogue cells. Also, you see, I have an example here on the slide. My sugary cells were no longer sweet, so bringing it optimized my blood sugar levels. That is compliant to say, because you're not in it. Well, that's really kind of in the gray area, but you can just say I now have healthy blood sugars. And this optimizes the body health for proper metabolism. So when you're saying optimizes the body's health, that is really a safe way for us to be able to convey how the product has helped us.
Yeah. When I do diabetes, so guys, this probably a lot of people are like, oh, this is a lot of work. I hear you. I understand it. But it's so important, because the previous company I used to be with, we weren't so compliant and we got everything yanked from us. We don't want that to happen for our company and for our team. So that's why this is so important. So like diabetes, go in and learn what is the symptoms of diabetes, and just use those. Oh, my pancreas is able to regulate sugar better. That's right there saying your diabetes is improving.
Exactly. And so I have been in other health and wellness companies, and one that I was recently in prior to Lifewave was so strict, extremely strict. So you do get in the habit. I want to encourage you that it'll grow on you and you will be able to get into the habit. And we're talking about when you are putting anything in print or in a webinar, so anything on social media, or if you're having any type of Zoom or anywhere where it's being recorded, certainly.
Jenny had a question. She says, can we say frequent urination for diabetes? But frequent urination could be just incontinence, could be UTI. It can mean so many different things. So I'd really try to narrow it down more toward the symptoms of whatever you're trying to convey. Would you agree, Juliana?
Absolutely. And that's why I call it, made a joke. Sometimes I make a joke and I even go like this, quotations. So people get the idea of what I'm talking about, like my sugary cells were no longer sweet. Or something to that effect of, again, we're optimizing the body's health in the area of metabolism and blood sugars.
This is, if it's okay with Juliana, I'd like to go with these comments in the section, because otherwise it's really
Sure.
difficult to go through afterwards. So this is a very, very good question here, is when a person's sharing their testimony, can they or can they not say their actual diagnosis? I believe they can say, I've been diagnosed with this.
Yes,
Since I've been on the patches.
Yes. That is a great topic to bring up, that there's nothing that prohibiting us from saying the conditions that we have. We just can't say, well, now Lifewave, now that I'm using Lifewave, it has taken care of my diabetes, or it's taken care of my neuropathy, or so on. So we can say, I have had neuropathy for years and years and years, and I'm so happy now that I don't have any tingling or discomfort in my feet anymore. So we can say what we don't have anymore in symptoms that do not have a diagnosis code.
Yeah, beautiful. And Sherry, earlier, Juliana said when it comes to eczema, say just angry skin that's red, itchy and painful with sores.
Yes.
Again, describe the actual thing. Yeah, beautiful, Jenny. There was something else I wanted to say. I forgot. Would you like me to go to the next screen?
Sure, we can go to the next screen, but I love the interaction. So we can definitely we don't have to wait totally till the end. We can have some interaction here. So I like that, Wendy. Thank you.
Oh, what I wanted to say is Juliana and I were talking about putting together an actual guideline, like diabetes. What can you say instead of them? Because eventually our telegram, we're going to slowly start changing it. So you're not going to see diabetes, perhaps, unless they say I had a diagnosis of diabetes. But as far as, how they improved, those are going to be different vocabulary. And so perhaps in the next month, maybe we're going to put together some guidelines, and maybe we'll talk to Marcy as far as emailing that out to everybody. So everybody has those guidelines to say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I just heard over here a while ago, like just for instance, for the, the eczema, what can I say about that? And that way there's to be some cute little guidelines that Juliana might have for you. Okay.
And Donna, I saw in the chat, Donna has a banned list of words, a banned word list. So that is a tremendous tool that, Donna, that will be of great value to everyone. And also, one thing which I'm going to be quoting Dr. Harmon here at the end of the presentation. We all love Dr. Harmon, and he has said, make sure you don't call these stem cell patches. These are stem cell activation patches. So that is something we really have to drive home. These are not stem cell patches at all. And another term that you cannot use is stem cell therapy. This is absolutely not stem cell therapy. So those are two, I know, of the banned words that are really, really inflammation. Inflammation has a diagnosis code. There's a question that came in, but it's more inflammation with that particular organ, right? So it's the diagnosis code associated more with that organ.
If I recall, it's you have your big diagnosis, and they put many diagnoses under the pain, inflammation, et cetera, according to that one diagnosis.
So you can say, I have personally, and again, I will openly stand corrected, but I have said, my hands were so inflamed, for example, which is not true, I'm just making this up. My hands were so inflamed that I couldn't take my rings off. Were so large, or my fingers were so large and swollen, I couldn't take my rings off, but now they come off with ease. So I have to use that. That is my sister's testimony. So here's an example. So she, what I say is has had joint pain and joint issues. I'd say joint issues. So she has arthritis, so I said she has joint issues, joint discomfort, and her fingers were swollen. And now they are no longer swollen, and she no longer has any discomfort.
Yeah. So again, like you just heard Juliana, just describe the issue. So a torn meniscus can say, the articulate, so you're gonna have to go in and figure out what is a torn meniscus. It's articulate cartilage that actually is ripped. So you can say my articulate cartilage in my knee has been ripped and I've been told I need, actually you can say I'm diagnosed with a torn meniscus. Absolutely.
Right.
And in truth, myself, I've been diagnosed with a torn meniscus. My knee no longer hurts. I can deep knee bend. I'm not going to say I no longer have a torn meniscus because I don't know. I didn't get an MRI, but I can tell you I can deep knee bend, I can walk, I can hike, have no pain. That's totally okay. Is it not, Juliana?
From my understanding, yes. And the one thing is to say, you wouldn't want to say in the same sentence, I no longer have a torn meniscus because of Lifewave patches. That is as non-compliant as you can. So, but you're not saying that. You're not saying that at all. So just make sure you don't group it in the same sentence because I no longer have X because of Lifewave patches. So that's something, just don't use the word because. All right, so this is our actual patent. And I just wanted to bring this up. If it goes, you see it's an improvement in third line down, fourth line down, improvement in strength, improvement in stamina and pain relief. So, because I was quite surprised, I said, okay, I'm going to dig. And I went back to our patent. And this is back to our first slides of the Federal Trade Commission, where you have to substantiate what your products do. And we have been able to do that with our clinical studies. And one of the reasons why we have a global patent, you have to prove the efficacy of a product, and we've done so. So here it is, right in the patent. So I just wanted to be able to show that.
So because it's in the patent, that's why we can say those things.
Yes, and because we have a clinical study backing it up. So we substantiated that sufficiently for the FTC regulations, FDA regulations.
So just to kind of, because this is where my brain's going, I'm sure everybody else's brain's going there. Okay, so we got a list that says things you can't say from Donna and also from, oh, so I apologize. I forgot your name. Just, I can't remember her name. But anyways, two people reached out and said, we do have that list and they're going to be sent to me. Carrie, thank you, Carrie. Sorry about that. So we'll get that together and, have Juliana also go over that. We'll try to get those, definitions, what you can say in lieu, but also Juliana, do you think we could possibly also get together a list of what you can say with ease, like such as pain and stamina, like we have here?
Yes. And then go to the next slide. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that actually.
Okay.
Here's, before I get there, here's I'm quoting Dr. Harmon, because right on the Evolve Team website on Facebook, I took this actual verbiage from Dr. Harmon, and so it's going, I can't see the very top, but it basically helping people for a very long time without getting any restrictions placed on this if we can abide by these things. Right or wrong, that's the way it is, and we must be vigilant, not only in our words, but in the words of our team members. If you hear anyone using terms, those terms, or politely tell them to never use those terms when referring to the stem cell activation patches. And in this post that he has pinned to the Evolve Team site, he does go over not to say stem cell therapy and not to call them stem cell patches as well. Mm-hmm. So you could advance to the next slide. I think I have another slide with Dr. So it says, never give specific patching protocols for a specific disorder or disease. This would be diagnosing, treating with products that only have our general wellness products. So approval and are not cleared by the FDA and to treat specific disorders or diseases. So you can't post on Facebook. Here is the arthritis protocol. We using Lifewave, that is as non-compliant as you can possibly get. Yeah, we cannot do that. So next slide, please. And I'm trying to read the very top, but it says,
do you want me to try to take it out of full screen?
Okay, it's just one says, yeah, maybe try that because the very top sentence I can't see. Okay, then I'm going to scrooge in here.
Sorry.
So that's all right.
That was me. I'm trying to make it bigger, but I'm making it worse.
That's okay. It says There we go. Boom. Okay. We can say the patches will help the body to be the best it can be. These patches can support the systems in your body and stimulate your body with light to elevate the GHK copper peptide that has many functions in the body, one of which is that it reverses age of your own stem cells and activates the production of more of them. So that is something, of course, that we can say. And X39, excuse me, startx39now.com is completely compliant, and startx39biz.com is completely compliant. So you can use verbiage and stories and things from there that with safety. So you can go to the next slide, please.
Actually, I'm going to pause here for a moment. So Catherine, you had a question or something.
Sure.
You said she is stating the protocols. That means the correct wording to use or not use.
Okay, you cannot have a protocol for a disease. You cannot. That is non-compliant.
Okay. Let's see here. Donna and I are trying to work in the background to get this working right. Play from the first with coach. No, I don't want that. I'm just trying to get this bigger, guys.
Well, you can go back to the full screen, you know, and I'm going to be sharing these slides, so you can go back to the full screen if you want.
Okay, yeah, that's really great. Because, okay, let's see if I can go full screen again, guys. Nope, let me go back. Dink, dink.
No worries.
There we go.
Okay, so what can we say, right? So the phrase I had mentioned earlier, I use all the time. I say it optimizes the body's health, or it optimizes our skin health, it optimizes our brain health, it optimizes our joint health, on and on and on, and it supports the health. So I use optimize and support a lot. So in explaining the power of the stem cell patches, it supports the health of the heart, kidneys, and so on. I know we had a comment about how David had see if we could bring up the comment, something about talking about blood pressure. And so certainly.
Would you like me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. I've seen David do a protocol for blood pressure on YouTube, but he did it in a way where it's not for blood pressure. He said, take pomegranate extract and something else, but afterwards he navigates back to the patches saying energy on acupuncture points under the foot may help.
And again, I would say, it may optimize how we say the function of our cardiac health. It's going to, because blood pressure is cardiac. So help and not treat. Exactly, Jenny. Thank you.
Yeah. So Julie, you are correct. So a lot of things, it gets very convoluted because everybody we see on Telegram, what patches do I need for this? What patch do I need for that? And that's where we're really trying to put a snuff on. We don't want that, X39, Aeon, etc. So Julie was asking, so our book Healing with Light, is that in compliance? So she's not saying, I don't think there's diabetes in there, but let's take this for an example. She's not saying these patches are going to snuff out diabetes. What she's saying is this specific patch helps the system by turning on this peptide. This patch turns on this peptide to help the sugar levels go down. This patch turns on these peptides to start healing the organs, et cetera, et cetera. She's not focusing specifically on diabetes, even though it kind of appears that way. She's just saying these specific patches help these specific things, which if we put them all together, oh, look, lo and behold, those are some of the causes, reasons of why someone has diabetes.
Correct. So that would be something like that would be compliant. Again, you're supporting body, you're just supporting health in that particular body function. So that would be compliant, but you can't use the word. You definitely don't want to use diabetes as again, with a protocol that we have a protocol for diabetes, or we have a protocol for arthritis, or so on and so forth. Okay, what does the independent Lifewave distributor who offers, I can't read the rest of the comment.
Yeah, I don't know why it's cutting off. It's very strange. Let's see if there's.
And I may not have the answer to all these, and I'll tell you if I don't have the answer. I'm definitely not going to give you an answer that I'm not sure of. That's certain.
So guys, just so that the top's not cut off, I'm just going to go back to this page. So that way we can all see everything on here. No, there I go again. Come on, come on. There we go. Can we see that, everybody? Do we need to make that a little bigger?
Wendy, that's good.
Okay, great. All right. So are you good with this slide, love, or should we move on?
No, this is fine. So when in doubt, ask your senior presidential director. This is where the senior presidential directors are going to be all in unity on compliant language. And that is your go-to, recommending you all go to your senior presidential director as your resource. So we're asking to please embrace this compliant language. We know it is going to be a change, and change is not always easy, but it is so worthwhile, because we want to protect the company that we love. We want to protect our ability to go out and share this wonderful product with people to help people. So that's why we are all asking everyone to kind of join and embrace a new culture, if you will. And next slide. So I had mentioned earlier and wanted to reiterate, startx39now.com is your place, of course, to share the benefits to customers, and then startx39biz.com. Fabulous resources that Marcy and Peter have spent so many hours putting together. And these are fabulous tools that you can use and are in complete compliance. So next slide, and then we're going to turn it over to more comments. So first and foremost, I applaud all of you to coming today, and thank you so much for coming and listening and being a team member, right? That will all support this new culture of compliant language. And I also want to ask for support for Marcy and Peter's YouTube channel, which I'm the manager of their YouTube channel. It's Lifewave X39 Team. So when you watch any of the YouTube recordings, we ask, number one, please like the video. This is going to help Marcy and Peter's algorithm tremendously. Also, we ask that you subscribe to the channel and that you hit the notification bell to all. Those three things dramatically help the algorithm so that we will be able to reach people that have never even heard of Lifewave. Because what we're seeing now is, because I review all the analytics, and we're getting a lot of views, but we're not getting the subscriptions and the likes as much. So every time you watch a video, please like it, and then make sure you subscribe to all. But now, if we have time, definitely want to open it up to some more questions.
So I'm sure everybody's got a lot of questions. So if you would, please, you could go ahead and raise your hand. I believe it's in the reactions aspect, and then we'll call on you one at a time, because otherwise I'm sure everybody's like, I want to talk. So I got Jenny here. Jenny, you want to go mute yourself and share your question?
Yes. So they're going to be changing the podcast because, and also Dr. Stacy has a Q&A, and I read the comments, and it's all about, what do you do for this disease and that disease? And Dr. Stacy cuts them off, nicely, and says, we can't talk about that. We need to talk about this. But people are asking, what patches did they use? What patches did they use because they're allowed to say their diagnoses. But then the chat wants to know what patches they use for that diagnosis.
So they can, right. What personally, I mean, this is just, again, I'm not the gospel here, but I'm sharing my personal experience. What I would say is, from all my experiences that I've shared with you tonight, these are the patches that I personally used. But I am not in any way implying that if you have a similar, condition, that these are the ones you absolutely should use, or tie it back to a condition. Just say these are the patches that I personally used, and now I am enjoying such optimal health where I'm so grateful for, something to that effect. But just as long as someone doesn't say, well, my diabetes again is gone because I used glutathione X39 Eon, for example. So they can still share what they use, but they just can't tie it back to a condition. If that
Thank you.
answers your question.
Okay, Marguerite, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for coming on today. I can't tell you how thrilled I am that you're making that list, Wendy. It just warms my heart. My two questions. Okay, these are things that are done publicly and by people I respect, but it still would make me nervous to say it. So that's why I want to ask you. On the before and after pictures where the tip of the finger has been severed and it's turned black, and then use X39 and it looks perfect. It's been called dead. And that would make me, that makes me nervous to say it's, clearly it's dead, because that indicates it's been brought back to life. So
Yeah,
how compliant is that for me to say?
Okay. Those pictures make me a little nervous.
Yeah, me too.
If I may, Juliana. So basically the finger turned gangrene because it has very low blood supply to it. So basically by applying the patch, the stem cell activation patch, it is fortifying the body to reawaken the stem cells to go out and create the healing that it is designed to heal, whether that is to go to the kidneys or go to the finger. And for this little boy, it created increased healing, a rapid healing. But we can't say, got rid of gangrene, right? No, it just created rapid healing, and he was able to save his finger.
I love that.
Even
Thank you.
hang on,
I
Juliana,
love
is that okay to say?
Very eloquent. Yes.
Was
Yes,
that okay
that
to
was
say?
perfect.
He was able to save his finger. Is that able to be said?
Perfect.
That sounds extremely eloquent. Absolutely. And that makes it compliant. But when you first see that picture, when you say dead like that or necrosis,
Yes.
then that
Thank
would
you.
not be compliant. But the way Wendy explained it is perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little more work, guys, but just get behind the scenes and you learn so much more too about the body, which is cool.
Okay, thank you so much. The other thing is so last Saturday, I loved, God, there's just an amazing experience to listen to that. At one point, so here's the thing that makes me nervous, or I really want to be able to go and tell everybody I would like to. So, but I want to, again, if you could help me with the words, I'd appreciate it. It was mentioned that there's a very famous doctor, well, to people who are interested in the C word, who's had a lot of good experience with him, but was shut down. And oh boy, anyway, the information of how that happened, the peptide that was used, there was it was mentioned over the weekend that there was a certain patch that was made to elevate that particular peptide. And I would love to call my friends, my family. I would really like to. You can tell I get emotional even talking about it. How can I talk to them about that? And I don't think we should be yelling that from the rooftops, which is what I feel like doing. And I imagine everybody else that heard it feels the same way. I don't know.
And again, we can go over in depth about what the particular peptides do. That is completely compliant. So, based on our literature, this peptide does X, so that is compliant. But we have to say, the body, and when you hear this all the time, the body heals itself. We did not heal any disease. It's optimizing the body, and the body has the power to heal itself. But we are just optimizing the body. So and that's something I'm so glad that I hear constantly is we're balancing. Someone had mentioned the balancing. We're balancing out the body, and we're allowing the body to heal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Another thing you got to remember, guys, all these patches, even in the literature that we have, it says increase or some says decrease. And I even asked David Schmidt directly, and he goes, nothing really increases or decreases anything. It's just that most people have too much of or too little of, and that's why that language is there. But in truth, it just fortifies and supports the body to create a homeostasis. Homeostasis means a happy, healthy body. So homeostasis is a word. So somebody said, can we use the word healing? Can we use that, Juliana?
Never. Only in the context of
Well, how about if you said,
the body can heal.
how about if you said the patches fortify the body to reawaken the stem cells? The stem cells can go out now and repair, replace, and there's another R word there, the cells, and therefore healing can occur. So you're saying the stem cells are doing healing, but not the patches.
Not the patches, exactly. So you just have to go around the block.
Right. So think about these patches, guys, as the sunshine, right? Because it's the same technology. We're not going to say the sun. I mean, I take this back. When I was a kid, we said the sun gives us vitamin D. Well, we know that's not true. The sun activates our body and our body makes vitamin D, but the sun doesn't do it. So you got to come all, like Julianne just said, you got to come the back door and all the way around.
Right. All the way around.
Wendy, may I ask one more question, one more clarifying? Is it all right if I use the same language that was used over the weekend? That David was at a meeting and met this doctor, and in talking to him, the doctor mentioned that it was a peptide, and David asked him which one, and he gave it to him. And he told him which it was, and then he created the patch. I mean, can I be that specific?
So Wendy, you can say what you think and we'll compare notes. My thing, as long as you're not, again, using it in the same sentence as a diagnosis within the same sentence. You know?
The C word was used. The C word was used over the weekend. That's what I'm asking. So don't use that word, is what I hear you saying.
Well, like even Marcy said, you know, I have cancer. Right. And she never once ever says these patches have basically put me in remission. I no longer have cancer. She did never do that. She's always said, by the use of these patches, I have a better immune system. But because these these patches activate the peptide. You got to put these words in there. These patches activate the peptide that turns on the genes where my body makes its own glutathione. Now my immune system is much better, and therefore better to do the dance with the C word, and I'm actually improving.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're giving the credit of whatever is going on with you back to the body, not to the patches, to the body.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marguerite. Jan, go ahead and say hello.
Yes, hi there. So we could very easily say, it fortified or is balancing the body to create homeostasis to help save his finger or to help my immune system to function normally.
I like that. Yeah, to help your immune system to function or normally, to optimize the health of my immune system, to support my immune system, the health of my immune system. So all those words and language and diction are in compliance. You did it very well.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, guys?
Just Dr. Valdez was about glutathione, which is so fabulous and documented. I think there was a comment there.
About glutathione? I'm sorry, I must have missed that. I was reading the notes.
So, thank you so much for that. Was a great example of how we can be compliant and still convey the power of the stem cell patches and activating our stem cells. You did a great job there.
So as you did you comment about the book, the protocol book?
Somebody, Julie was having a question as to whether or not the healing with light was actually within compliance. And what do you have to say about that, Juliana?
I have not reviewed that book closely enough in order to give an educated answer today. So that's something that we can review further, but I really don't have enough information, and I've studied the book enough. I have not used the book, so I have not used it. I was aware of it, but I really haven't used it, so I really don't feel comfortable sharing an opinion.
So here's the book, guys, that we're talking about in case you've never seen it. Now, this book, if I recall correctly, was written by Karen Kahn, maybe some other colleagues that are Oriental doctors, acupuncturists. So this is theirs. This is not owned by Lifewave. This is not even part of Evolve team, even though I think Karen Kahn is in our team nevertheless. But I think pretty much on every single one, yeah, there we go. So even in, oh dear God, I would choose one there. That was a big word. Let's try to go over one.
So Wendy, can I jump in and make a point here? I just came in. So that book could be I could see the value in that book tremendously for your personal edification, right? And then we can take what we have learned, convey that information in a compliant manner. So I see tremendous value in that book by educating yourself, but then still staying compliant by conveying what you've learned with compliant language.
That's beautiful. So here, for instance, she has one on prostate, right? And the first thing and it looks like it's under every single, if you want to call it diagnosis, the issue. She said the patches are not intended to treat, cure, prevent any disease. The suggested protocol does not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed health professional. We strongly recommend that you consult your doctor concerning your specific health conditions and challenges and whether or not using the patches is good for you. No medical claims are being made by the suggested protocol below.
Wendy, on the back of it where she has the index of symptoms with all the disease states worded out, on the bottom of every single page is a disclaimer.
There you go.
So I think that was really well put on how to utilize this book.
Yeah.
And just so people know, this is not updated. It doesn't have the 39 or the 49 in it. So if you're new here and you've not seen it and you feel that you're missing out on something, it is a great tool, but you don't need to run out and grab it.
Yeah. What I want to say, guys, it's not the Bible. And I mean saying that, by proper words, what I'm saying. It's it's guidelines, darling. It's guidelines. It's not the Bible. It's simply to say, gee, if I want better vision, what kind of patches, I don't really know the patches very well. Well, what way work, and she's already done the work because she's been working with these patches for a very long time. Jan, did you have any more questions or are you good? Okay.
I'm good. I couldn't figure out how to take my hand down.
It's okay. All right. We're going to bring Carrie online. Carrie, you want to say hi?
Hi, guys. So I have my own radio podcast with Living a Healthy Lifestyle show. And I say the disclaimer all the time with my guests before they come on. We call it light therapy. And Juliana has been one of my guests. So I just wanted to ask her if she's done any research on that, if that's okay. Light therapy technology that brings the body back to homeostasis.
I normally do not call it light therapy. It is photobiomodulation. It is, I've heard the practitioner call it photobiomodulation. So it is that. So I'm thinking I'm correct that you could call it that. But again, I've never used that term. So I would go back to your SPD. This is a great learning example of when there's still doubt in what you would want to say about that. I would go back to your SPD, because again, there's going to be a lot of communication amongst the leadership in all getting together unity of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But certainly photobiomodulation is. I'm just not sure if we can actually just say.
It's hard to say that, though. That's why I had asked Annie about it, who is my SPD. And also said it with Amy and Bob too. So it's, and all the people that have been on the radio with me.
Well, this is new too. There's a new chapter, we're going into a new arena here. So I would have another discussion with them. But I think it would be fine, but I would just have a new discussion with them because we're looking at it in a slightly different way now. So
yeah, because we're having patching angel parties, and we tell everybody at the very beginning, this doesn't heal, treat, or cure anything.
Right.
So is there a specific disclaimer? I've heard some disclaimers today that are long and short, and so is there a specific one that they're going to want us to be able to say?
No. Everyone that I've heard is been articulate and professional, so it would be just a matter of your choice.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question there, Carrie.
Yes. Yes.
So personally for me, and I'm just adding in
Mhm.
there, I don't use light therapy, guys, because there's a lot of people who have not educated what light therapy is. They think, oh, I put on those colored glasses and I got light therapy. I don't need your patches. Or I can just go under colored lights and I'm fine there then too. So that's, so I do use photobiomodulation. And then I explain to them, they've been using it all their life because you've been under the sun. And you give them some sort of association if you do use that word. Not saying anything wrong with light therapy. It works really good with Carrie. She's very successful. But again, if you wanted something different, there's other options there. Anybody else have any? Oh, we got another hand raised. Leola. Where'd you go?
Hello, sorry, I'm about to lose cell service here, but I heard one of the SBC, the senior presidentials say that the word therapy was not good for us to use. So one of the senior presidentials said therapy, the word therapy should be one of the words we not use.
What's your thoughts there, Juliana?
I do not use the word therapy. Now, I would say photobiomodulation, but I just keep it simple, stem cell activation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with that. That I would just like it is not stem cell therapy. Mm-hmm. So I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to get technical, guys, you can say they're GHK activation, because that's what they are. But a lot of people don't know that, and that's not a really good click word to get people's attention. That's why we say stem cell activation. All right, we got another. Oh, Leola, are you good there with that question? I don't know if she can hear me. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, wait, we got another one. Sorry. Jen, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. How can we talk about this on social media? Is it okay to say the company name, Lifewave or stem cell activating patches? Can't say the name? I see somebody shaking head no already.
If I may, Juliana.
I love this topic. I love this topic. So because this brings me, I love social media. I teach I teach social media too, and I love talking about this. So this is totally not even talking about compliance when you're talking about the company name. But I was trained by a fabulous social media trainer called Brian Fryer. And I built my whole business in another company around curiosity marketing. And he teaches you never put the company name. And I do a lot of my own graphics for Lifewave for all my social media, and I block out the company name. I even block out sometimes 639 because I want them coming into my messenger for that discussion. So and this is social media. This is where we really need to be careful. When you're talking to someone face to face, those are different. It's totally different than being on social media or being on a recorded webinar. So thank you for asking that question. But legally,
is it non-compliant? I have friends that are like,
you can say
MLMs, you can never give the company name. Why is that?
No, you can say the company name from a compliance point of view. Absolutely. It's just not smart marketing, but you can, in my opinion. Now that's my opinion. Now and I take that back. Sometimes there's some instances where I have used the company name, but it depends what type of post I'm making. But in many instances, I do curiosity posts. And in those posts, I don't use the company name. Yeah. But there's been other times that I have put Lifewave out there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And lastly, does anyone have those 5 R words again? Repair, restore, regenerate. Those are all good words to use. What was the other 2?
Replace, because actually stem cells do replace. So it's replace.
Okay.
I'm putting this in the chat. Replace.
Thank you.
Restore.
Restore.
Repair. Anybody? Regenerate. There we go. Regenerate. Oh, there we go. Donna, you're good. Repair, restore, regenerate, renew, and rebuild. Awesome. She beat me to it. You're good, Donna.
What about rejuvenate? I love the word rejuvenate. Wendy, do you think rejuvenate is that there?
I was just had an interview or talk because myself and Susan Allen are going to do an interview next month, and she said, rejuvenate is kind of like owned by the cosmetic industry, and therefore it's not a little woo-wooey. So she said, I mean, you can use it, but she said, I really wouldn't. And she had a very valid point. We don't want to be
Okay,
thrown
great. That's
into
a great-
that industry.
And I've been in that industry so much. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, guys, when you're doing things on social media, yes, you can mention that, the name of the company, you can mention the name of the product. But the thing is just like Juliana said, you want to be attraction marketing, where people ask questions. They want to know more information. If you give them all the information because you're exhausted and tired and dear God, just go and buy my product, you need to look and do some personal development and figure that out. But if they go and have the name of the product or the company, they're going to go off and do their own research. They're going to find information that's not true, and they're going to buy falsified product that's on Amazon or eBay. And then they're going to say, oh, these products didn't work. Well, of course not, because it wasn't it wasn't the real product. So control your business. If you had a store that sold soaps, you're not going to go out and give everybody the recipe of your soap. What's the point? They can make it themselves. No, you're going to go ahead and attract. This is really good, smells good and whatnot. Bring them in. Oh yeah, feel how good it is on your hand. Traction marketing. So they end up buying it from you. All right, Jess, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. So I know that the X39 is really like the core of our company in a lot of ways, because we're always saying about stem cell activation, but all the other patches aren't specifically doing stem cell activation. So isn't there a lot more that we can actually be stating?
Yeah, the peptide.
Right? That's really what I hear mostly in these few months that have been with us about the X39, and I know it's a powerhouse, but so are the others in their own way.
And from my point of view, and Wendy, you can chip on this, they are complementary to the X39. And I explain, where the X39 is our cellar, of a home. It's our foundation, and then we can build upon that. But they're really complementary. Now I will say, for instance, the Eon patch is synergistic with the X39, and that's a little different. The term synergistic is when the two together make them both and perform in an enhanced way. So that's why the Eon is also one of my, frequent.
Thank you. That was my next question, to use synergistic, but is that not the case with the other patches?
Not all of them, in my understanding. I can stand corrected. In my understanding,
no, this is good.
that not all of them are as synergistic as the Eon. And Wendy, I believe the X49 is as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact the Eon is synergistic.
Yeah, I believe all the patches, just look at this, thinking at it logically, because it all works with light, and light, when it gets near other light, it just makes the light even brighter. So I think they're all somewhat synergistic, but I completely agree with you, Juliana, that the Aeon and the X39 are just like kaboom, really amplifies the light of the Aeon patches. So Jess, dear God, my brain just went away. Can you please repeat your question? Oh dear Lord.
Oh, I was just asking about in terms of presenting, because the X39 is the heart of the, it's now the main focus, but in terms of presenting this and staying compliant, but also presenting other aspects. I guess I'm just offering that up as a way to be compliant and also present other aspects.
So very, very valid point. And in our team, we do go over all the patches. So there's a positive and there's a negative. So I always tell somebody, the X39 is the umbrella. It covers everything. It can do everything. And even David Schmidt has said this, that the X39 does everything that all the other patches do, just not laser focused in the area of inflammation. So bringing down inflammation, yes, but just not laser focused. So I say, so therefore, if you want to go ahead and improve your body or support your body faster, quicker, like, the Weight Watchers, quick start program, I said, then let's add on the Aeon patch. And I said, all the other patches use the X49 as a launching pad to laser focus in specific areas of your body to bring about, better support with your body. So quicker, faster healing, et cetera. Of course, everybody's body's different. So everybody's body's going to respond differently. you know, so we can't necessarily say, oh yeah, in a month, oh my gosh, you're going to be amazing. You're gonna be 20 years old. Obviously not. Everybody's body's differently. The second thing though, if you do go into all the other patches, it might get confusing, and confused people don't use product. So you don't want to give them the whole kitchen sink. I always say, you know, stick no more than 4. You know, even Marcy does that in some of her protocol, you know, kits, no more than 4. You're just going to confuse the Tara people. And next thing you know, they're like, oh, I just stopped using those, man, because I just didn't know where to put them and how to put them on. You don't want that. And actually with our team, we just do X39 and Aeon. Yeah, smart. In Europe, they had a big flood of growth, and all of a sudden their growth died because they were doing all of the patches. So again, you don't want to get too confusing. You just want to stay nice and simple and slowly build with the patches as they get used to the technology, used to wearing them, understanding the meridians, et cetera, et cetera.
And I made the mistake, for anyone else who's was here today, is that I made the mistake of barely starting out with just the 2. And I immediately, because of several conditions, I was kind of eager to counter them. They were serious conditions. So I used all of them. So I have 8 patches on a day, and I don't recommend it because it's not confusing to my body, but it's confusing then to present it to new brand partners.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, as you said, X39 and Aeon. And
yeah, it's hard to duplicate it.
It's really, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do what I did.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Jess.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
May I make a comment on that, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think synergy and synergistic are beautiful terms, but what I found to be more effective is the term supportive patches, because everybody wants support, and unfortunately, everybody doesn't fully understand synergism. So that's it from me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm going to call on Jenny next, but I accidentally lowered somebody's hand down, so I apologize. So if I did, just bring your hand back up. Go ahead, Jenny.
I'm sorry if you already answered this. I'm doing 5 things at once. Reverse aging is used a lot.
Yeah.
We can do that. We can say that. We can say that. We have a clinical study. I say, and I'm a longevity expert. My whole program is reversing people's age, and I prove it with a biological test. But I absolutely say that because we have a clinical study, X39, reversing age by 6 months. Yes. So I use that all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it only makes sense because sometimes if the cell is too damaged, right, the stem cell comes out and literally tells it to go away and makes a brand new cell. You're literally reversing the aging process. But that's your body doing it too.
Cynthia had had a question for me about testing. I want to give you my phone number so you can text me if you want any more information about that test. There's actually 4 tests in one. So my cell phone number is 727-430-2683.
And Monday, you lowered my hand, so it's not a problem.
Okay, thank you. All right, Miss Sassy Jackie. I like your name. Go ahead and unmute yourself, love.
Thank you. I'm working on it here. What I did sort of like what Jesse did, and I didn't want to overwhelm anybody when I was teaching, when I'm sharing it, so to speak. And I had an overreaction. I don't know, detox too fast because I had so many underlying things. So I got kind of shy about where to start people that are new. And I guess I would go back to the X39 and Aeon first, or the X39 and 49 because of being the sister patch thing. But yeah, I really overdid it, and I had to cut back for a day or so because I was in a lot of pain and couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah. Is it okay if I take this, Juliana?
Oh, yes, because I was just going to say, I'm not here for that, qualified today for that. So thank you.
So yeah, if you know of any, so I always recommend that somebody places or on Monday, they're going to get it by the following Monday, you reach out to them that following Monday. So 2 weeks from the time they place the order, how are you doing? How are you feeling? If anybody says, list any of the list of feeling, any type of detox, I've got a headache, I've been malaise, I've been feverish, I've been achial, or symptoms like you've had, then I always, first thing we do, are you drinking enough water? And if you just ask that question straight across, what's everybody going to say? Well, yeah, right? No, I want you to think about how much you weigh. All right, divide that by 2. All right, that's ounces, the minimum what you should be drinking a day. Now add 20 to that. That's actually the amount what you should be drinking a day. And then they might go, wow, yeah, I'm not getting that. Okay, first let's go ahead and, take a break with the patches tomorrow, but get that water level back up into your body. And then let's restart up, and let's reconnect within 2 to 3 days. In 2 to 3 days, they said, yep, my water level's been up. I'm still having these issues. Then what we always recommend is, okay, we wear the patch for 12 hours generally, right?
Right.
So I say, okay, you're going to put the patch on at 8 o'clock in the morning, theoretically. And I want you to pay attention to when those symptoms start to arise. And they might arise around, 6 hours or 7 hours. We'll just say 7 hours. Okay, then tomorrow I want you to take off that patch at the 6-hour mark.
Okay.
So use the patch for 6 hours. That's it, just 6 hours. And do that for about 10 days to 14 days. And you can use that patch again the next day, because that patch is good for 12 hours. So, and then, again, continually reach back to them. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Okay, now let's go back for, 12 hours again. And they might say, well, I'm doing good until around the 10-hour mark. I'm getting those symptoms. All right, let's take them off at 9 hours, etc. So you just keep playing with the patch, keep playing with the amount of time they have on it, because you're right, they're just detoxing really fast, which is a good sign. So the thing is we're programmed. Pain is bad. Discomfort is bad. Oh my gosh, I've been taking this. Oh, let's throw this to the wind. I don't want to feel that way. And the thing is, we need to educate people. No, you're feeling bad because you have toxins in your body and they're coming out. You want them out, because this is what's going to cause damage to your cells. This is what's going to make you sicker in the long run and give you dis-ease in the body. Mind you, I didn't put the two together. Dis-ease in the body that makes you feel uncomfortable. So we want those toxins out. So this is a good sign, but let's go ahead and make it so it's comfortable for you while you're going through this detox period. So, if in the case of what was it, Jess, that said that she was using a lot of patches, absolutely.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Come back down, obviously, just to the extra Aeon, absolutely for sure. Because Aeon basically just making the system better anyway, because it's decreasing inflammation. And a little oxidative stress is actually going down as well when you're putting on the X39. And I would just stay there, stay nice and calm. I don't ever recommend using the glutathione patch to anybody over 65. Because usually they have so many toxins going on in their body, unless they're extremely healthy, right? I eat, I jog all the time and I'm, doing organic foods and no problems whatsoever. Okay, fine, do it. But I wait for about either 2 to 3, even sometimes 4 months, depending upon the age, to slowly introduce glutathione, because you're already going to be detoxing with the X39. Give it a few months before you start adding in that glutathione patch.
See, I tried the glutathione too soon because I've had a lot of chemical stuff through. And yeah, it has not been a real fun. I started out feeling really great. And then all of a sudden I started adding. And then I thought, well, I'll just try the glutathione one day. Oh, brother. Anyway, and I didn't want how to explain that to somebody else that was asking me about that. And then, okay, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Shari, you want to unmute yourself and say hello?
Okay, I have a question because I think I'm the one that you got rid of my hand.
Thank you, Clark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, I apologize. I didn't want to, I was going to let her go ahead and go. I just wanted to know that. But anyhow, I have a sister that has stage 4 of the C word. And so she has gone through all the chemo and everything, and they have basically can't give her chemo or radiation anymore. They've gone too far. And so she's now going through they're giving her some kind of treatments that are supposed to bring her immune system up. And so, I'm trying to figure out if she can use these, use the patches and stuff, because they do the same thing. They're bringing her immune system up and things like that. So, I mean, right now she's drawing at straws trying to find things, to make herself better and everything. And, So also too, the recordings that you guys do all the time, how do I get to those, or how do I access those recordings?
So Marcy's YouTube channel, please subscribe to that. It's Lifewave X39.com, Marcy and Peter's channel. And also they're posted on Telegram, and then sometimes we post them on the Evolve Team Facebook, but definitely they're posted on the Telegram group. But if you go to your YouTube and search for Marcy and Peter, it's Lifewave X39 Team is the name of their YouTube channel.
Okay, so I can pull up all the different videos for the different dates.
You can go not on YouTube, but if you go to Telegram, you can. They have them more by Zoom. Some of them are, the YouTubes are on Telegram, but they're not all within that. Well, I think I take that back. I think they are showing up now as far as being in that search. Wendy, you might be able to add to that as well. But we do make all of them uploaded to YouTube, so they are all on the channel.
Yeah.
Also, if you hit the bell, it'll come up on your front screen that they have downloaded a new one, new video.
Notifications, yeah, if you want that. So they're all uploaded. Pretty much every single thing that our Evolve team does is uploaded in the Evolve team group within Telegram. Some of them are also uploaded into the Evolve testimonies, but not all of them. And then of course, Juliana takes them, transfers them into YouTube as she was sharing earlier. It's easier, correct me if I'm wrong, Juliana, but I feel it's easier to search for exactly what you're looking for inside Telegram Evolve team.
Yes,
okay,
that's correct.
And as far as your previous question, Clark, about your sister, I presume you're asking what can we do for her as far as patch wise?
Yeah, I mean, I know the X39 and everything is good. Right. Somebody said something about an Eon.
Right. So like Clark, I'm going to put that. So a great question. Don't get me wrong, but that's kind of like off topic to what we're talking about here today. So
okay, I can't hear you.
I saw that. Put my number in chat, and that way you can just text me and we can set up a time we can talk about that sometime this week. Okay.
Okay. Also too, they mentioned that the C word was mentioned in some kind of interview. How do I find that interview?
If the person is claiming that they are diagnosed with cancer, that word should still be in there within Telegram, within the Evolve team. If, of course, they're not going to say that these patches cured anything with cancer in general, just supported the body. So that word should still be in there. Another way, a lot of people like, I can't find this, I can't find that. If you remember who the host was, if you remember what general month and year it was, or even the day, you can search by the date. You can search by, like, for instance, usually Laura and I do the Fridays, right? So you can do Wendy and Laura and just see what comes up, and oh, it's just a few weeks ago, I know, and that will at least narrow it down so you can kind of find it. And also be curious, like for instance, there's one that I think Peter did with a woman, a really wonderful testimony. She had diabetes and a whole bunch of other things. So I just said Peter diabetes. So that really narrowed it down to me finding the actual one that I was looking for. So the more things you put in there, guys, the more it can really help you find this.
There was a lady on, I think it was last maybe Friday. She was talking about she had some scoliosis, but the main thing that I was interested in was essential tremors. I have essential tremors and they're really bad, and so much so that it's affected me with my face muscles and stuff. So my eyes involuntarily close, so it causes me to have auto accidents. I've been to 8 doctors, including neurologists. Nobody has an answer for me. I've got the blood test, your blood is fine, blah, blah, blah. But I have the essential tremors where I shake and stuff all the time. And so, I know that she had mentioned that she had, done certain things or whatever. That's why I wanted that video, was to see which patches that she used, just to see, if that helps me, because I'm unable to work a normal job and everything. So, anything that can work will work.
Yeah. And I don't mean to cut you off, love, but yeah, we can definitely, I can help you try to find that when we get together. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it.
We need
Thank
to,
you.
yeah, keep this a little on topic. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I'm
much.
sorry.
Okay, so let's see here. Before we move on to Shari, Dr. Velvet, did I say that correctly? She put a very wonderful point out here. She said, God, this thing is really squirrely. That David Schmidt never uses the word glutathione with the C word. He has a great video on this and why this is so, but it has to do with counteracting their medicine that they use for, I presume, cancer, and therefore glutathione, come on, go away. Trying to scroll it down, dang it. Therefore, glutathione is your master antioxidant, so it's a scavenger. So I thank you very much for putting that up and mentioning that. I really appreciate that because that's very, very valuable information. Okay, before we move on, we're all good. Okay, Shari Lewis, if you would please unmute yourself. Shari.
Hi there, and it's Shari Louise.
Sorry, I apologize, guys. I'm not really good with pronunciation.
Okay. Anyway, first with regard to Clark, I have a fellow with who was diagnosed 2 years ago with a P problem, and you were talking about tremors, and he has been on, he's a professor, 57 years old, works in a liquor store at night because he's not getting paid enough. And I finally patched him a year later, and all he's wearing is the X39 every single day without fail. But he stopped all alcohol whatsoever, and he's staying hydrated. He no longer has any symptoms whatsoever. He looks 10 to 15 years younger. He walks, talks like any other normal person. So, Clark, I hope that helps you. And that's the only thing he's been using. Now, my question, to appropriately deal with the right languaging for the SP6, I have a very close friend who is morbidly obese and a grandson who is morbidly obese. What can I say without getting into trouble?
You're muted, love.
SP6 will be useful.
One thing that I always go back to before I start talking about any specific patch is I go back and I listen to David's the product, what is it, the Connect seminars, when he goes into each individual patch. I would go back and listen to exactly how he explains it. Then you've got, in my mind, you've got gospel, right? There also, Dr. Stacy has a fabulous training. It was done recently. I think it was only done about 3 weeks ago. I'm sure, Wendy, you remember that, where she went over all the individual patches. Mm-hmm. So that's what I try to do. I go back and educate myself in exactly what the experts have and how they've conveyed it, and then to mimic that language.
Yeah. And Shari, Doctor, forgive me if I'm saying your name incorrectly. I'm not a good pronunciation person, guys.
It's all right. Think of Charlie as where Shari is.
Yeah, but if you scroll up, Dr. Velvet, would you presume that's how you spell it or pronounce it? She put a great dissertation about SP6, so you can definitely check that out in the chat.
Awesome.
Because it looks like she went directly from the actual study, which is beautiful. All right, guys, we have room for maybe one more question, and that's directly to this topic of compliance. Anybody else would like to raise their hand and come in? Other than that, we just might call it good. We've been going on for an hour 15. I think everybody's filled.
Oh, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for attending, and that from me with my heart to yours, that I've just shared my personal experience. I don't have in-depth certifications or training on this, but I have many years of experience of being able to recommend these wonderful products that change lives and stay compliant. So I hope that for the limited amount of information you've gotten here today has been useful to you. And Wendy, thank you so much. And that this is an ongoing, we, like Wendy, you had said we're going to be publishing the banned word list. We're going to be publishing more words that you can say. So this is an ongoing, growing cultural change, but I hope you have found value today.
Yes, I was just thinking, Juliana, brain lightning storm in my head for that. So we're going to create, so I know that Carrie and also Donna had the band list. So we'll get that together, guys. We'll also get together the list of what to say instead of, and I know there was one other list. Now I'm going to have to reach back and listen to this again. There's 3 lists of, darn, what was a third list? But my point being is we'll get those together. And I think probably a good idea is to put them in biz.com. I think that'd be a great place. So everybody can just go there to refer to this list of what you can't say. Instead of saying these things such as diabetes, you know, my pancreas is handling the sugar much better. And I don't remember that third list is now. Do you remember, Juliana?
I don't either, but we'll figure out. Again, this is just, I view this as just the beginning of a very positive cultural change that is going to protect our wonderful company and be able to allow us to go out for many, many years ahead, safely convey the wonderful power of Lifewave. Mm-hmm. So embrace the change, please.
Exactly. Well, thank you so very much, Juliana. I know that, you know, everybody has really benefited from, you know, your conversation and answering questions. Really, really appreciate this. Is so important because we've seen companies close down because of, give me a second. And sorry, you're unmuted. So this is so important that we do go ahead and, you know, be compliant. And also you don't want to get kicked out of Lifewave. I've already known a person who has been. So, but not necessarily for this particular scenario, but for more greater things, but we just don't want to do that because we love this family. We love this team, but thank you very much for joining me today, Juliana. Really appreciate it. And something tells me we're going to be doing another training because I'm sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I have the funny feeling that Marcia's like, wow, this is really important. We need to put this on Saturday. I can hear this right now. So I can guarantee it. We're going to be on Saturday sometime soon. But thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Wendy. And again, teamwork, you brought such valuable information to the topic as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, guys, you have yourself a good Tuesday evening. And next up is not up here, but you know, later on tonight or today is the Q&A with Dr. Stacy. And then of course we have our patching podcast at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right, guys, thanks so much and have a great evening.